So in the last video, I made a stool. Now, while I was working on that stool, I realized I was missing a few tools, one of which was a mallet. And since I didn't have a mallet, I ended up using a beam like this to replace the mallet temporarily. However, using it is more like a hack and not a permanent solution. So I decided to finally make one.
Whole thing only took me about 20 minutes. People who buy things are suckers.
So I was sifting through my pile of scrap wood pieces when I found this specific block. I thought it would make a decent mallet head, so I cut it down to about 6 inches. It's got a bunch of holes, but I think for a mallet head it should be fine. For the handle of the mallet, I took this leftover piece from my stool build and planed it down to get rid of all the machine marks, and then also cut it down to about 13 inches. The head and the handle need to be joined together using a mortise and tenon joint. So the next step was to mark the tenon itself. I went with the 3/4 inch chisel and the 1 inch chisel for the dimensions of the tenon. The length of the tenon is of course determined by the width of your mallet head. For carving out the tenon, I usually start off with a hacksaw to create a wall that acts like a natural stop for the chisel. And then I can start working with the chisel. Now this was one of those awkward situations where I needed a mallet to make a mallet. So I just took a piece of scrap wood and used it as a makeshift mallet. Carving out the mortise took a bit longer than I expected, simply because I could not clamp it under my leg. But once it was done, I paired the tenon with this mortise while ensuring that I got a snug fit.
Nice.
I set my block plane to take out really thin shavings and planed the mallet head to get rid of any machine marks. Once the surface was flat, I used a pencil and my measuring tape to draw an arc and a few angles to give the mallet head a bit of an organic shape. I followed the arc I had just drawn using a spoke shave and a chisel to shape the mallet head. I also used the spoke shave to shape the handle. I managed to taper the handle towards the bottom and got a nice curved surface with a really comfortable grip. Next, I cut the angles that I had drawn on the mallet head and then started smoothing all the rough surfaces. I wanted to try scraping, but I didn't have a card scraper, so I tried using a steel ruler, and surprisingly it worked quite well. I had decided to not use glue in this project, yet I still had to hold the joint together. So for that, I just drilled a hole straight through the joint and just hammered in a dowel. The final step is of course finishing, and for that I used my homemade wax finish made using paraffin wax and vegetable oil. And there you go, a mallet made out of scrap wood and some basic wood joinery. Now do let me know what you think about this project in the comment section. Maybe like this video, share it around, and thanks for watching.